But here's the deal. Without getting technical, just on its face, Anglo-Protestant culture has a ton to honor. And I would argue that at least in the last 500 years, so I'm not talking about pre-flood, antediluvian world or before Christ, or who knows.
Yeah. This is amazing that he's making like this heartfelt this like heartfelt like appeal for Anglo-Protestant culture, like unironically, but also wearing these sunglasses, you know? And talking about like this is what white boy summer really entails and we need to take it seriously. Fuck.
But at least in the last 500 years, and I technically would argue the last 1,500 years, Constantine, and then, that'd be 1,500 years, and then from King Alfred, that'd be 1,000 years.
Wait, Constantine? Wasn't Constantine Eastern Orthodox? Wasn't Constantine the Byzantine emperor? Right? Am I tripping? Yeah. No, yeah, Roman emperor. My bad, I got my East-West Roman Empire timeline jangled. Bruh, this guy was neither an Anglo or a Protestant. This guy was a Catholic. Yeah, neither an Anglo or a Protestant. In fact, many years before either of those things would really come into existence at all. Like, well before the Anglo-Saxon migrations onto the Isles, and well before the Protestant Reformation. What the fuck is this guy talking about? I mean, just,
The last 500 years would be the Reformation, at least 500, probably 1,000, probably 1,500. I would say not only is it
okay, but what does anything before that have to do with Anglo-Protestant culture before 500 years? What does anything? Why are we counting that?
Culture, but I would argue that it's the best culture. And here's the deal, and we're going to get into this. It's not merely the best culture, in my opinion, because it's my culture or my heritage. No, it is the best culture, historically speaking, because it is the one that for these last 500 to 1,500 years has...
Dude, they're all white. Jesus. These guys are like, you're spitting right now. Spitting facts. Shedding a tear underneath these shades.
Has most closely modeled the Christian worldview. That's what made it great. You want to make America great again, make it Christian again. Bringing back the Christian roots. That's what's so glorious about all the cathedrals that were built and all the art that was produced and all these things were right alongside, and not by coincidence, but by design. They were right.
Wait, so again, why are we like lauding the artistic expression of the cathedrals? Beautiful cathedrals, by the way. Yes, great architecture. Why are we lauding that as part of like Anglo-Protestant culture? They're cathedrals. They're built by Catholics. You know? This is totally incoherent nonsense.
Right alongside preaching, revival, wholesome families, and like that's it mirrored Christ, and so it should be honored. This is a fifth commandment. Not only, I'll leave it with this, and I'll go back to you guys. Not only is it okay to be white,
Okay.
it is good to be white. In the same way that Michael Foster wrote a book saying it's not just permissible to be a man, right? There's a war on masculinity. So somebody needs to say it's okay to be a man. But you know what? Let's do them one better. Right. Biblically speaking, it's not just permissible or okay to be a man.
If you
it's
have
good.
to.
It's good to be a man if you're a man. Likewise, it's not just okay or permissible to be white. It's good to be white. And you might be saying, again, you're making it about race. What does that matter? Think of what Paul says in Romans chapter 9. He says, look, when it comes to salvation and...
By the way, none of these, like, categorizations of, like, racial... None of these categories existed in the time of any of the writers of the Bible. None of them existed. And none of them would have looked at themselves as part of, like, Western Anglo Protestant culture, you know? Like, I don't know what, like, how he's gleaning this, because he wants to say, like, well, this is the best interpretation of Christianity. And he wants to, like, glean how, like, based and red-pilled Anglo-Protestant culture is, because it's, like, the closest following of the Bible for some reason. And then, but none of these categories even existed at the time of the writing of the Bible. You know? Like, Western civilization was not a concept at that time. Like, you couldn't, like, ask Paul, you know, if you could go back in time and ask Paul, or just tell him, like, did you know, Paul, that you're actually more like those Irish tribesmen? You're actually more like the Celtic tribes in the Isles. You're more like them than you are like you know, the, like, Egyptians or anything like that, because you're all in the West. He would look at you like you're a fucking idiot, you know? This is so weird.
And eternal value and merit, the flesh is of no account, right? So it's covenant. It's not blood. It's not ethnicity. It's covenant. And after making all those arguments, then what does Paul say? So what advantage is there in being a Jew? And you would expect him to say this. None. But he doesn't say that. Instead, he says, what advantage is there in being a Jew? Much in every way. For theirs are the patriarchs, the prophets, and the law. So what advantage is there in being an Anglo-Protestant? Much in every way. For theirs are the Reformers, theirs are the Puritans, theirs is Aquinas, theirs is Calvin, theirs is Luther, theirs... Yeah, and we should be proud of that.
Aquinas is Italian.
Be proud of that. And everyone who's not white can also be proud of that, saying, yeah, but covenantally, these are my people. In the same way that Ruth said to her mother-in-law, Naomi, from now on, I know I'm a Moabitess, but from now on, covenantally speaking and familial speaking, your people will be my people and your God, my God. And so everyone is welcome to celebrate White Boy Summer, which I do believe, it may have started off with not the best intentions. I don't think it was nefarious, but it wasn't particularly righteous, but it has been sufficiently, and in the true spirit of the post-millennial hope, it has been sufficiently hijacked by the Christian right. God bless it. And so, in the same way that Charles Dickens, you know, he would say, Bob Cratchit, you know, well, I say that this Christmas is merry, and I wish you a merry. I say that this White Boy Summer is.
So are we just back to? It is amazing, like,
Is a glorious and right.
Conservatives' propensity to just decide, like, actually, we're not being reactionary enough, you know? How they'll just be like, we need to go back further. Like, we need to arbitrarily pick actually a different point in history where white only meant, like, WASP, you know? Where white only meant Anglo-Saxon Protestant. We've included too many pale-skinned imposters within our culture, you know? And what we really need to be proud of is Anglo-Protestantism, you know? Which means, like, English. Anybody else? But then he also wants to lump in, like, all these other people from all these other cultures that are clearly not Anglo or Protestant. This is a mess. this is a mess. He's giving this like heartfelt, incoherent sermon with these fucking glasses on. What the fuck is happening? What is happening right now? This just fried my brain. Like I've short circuit my neurons have short circuited. I couldn't even follow this. Like I couldn't. It was so jumbled and incoherent. I couldn't track like what he was trying to say. And then he just got to like, actually White Boy Summer's fine. Okay, man, you could have just said that, you know? It seems to be like mostly harmless. It's kind of a joke. Whatever. I don't give a shit. Why did he try to like do this whole like deep historical covenant? This is your covenant fucking jumbled justification for it. Bruh.